as we pull up this graphic, we understand that many of you today are visual learners. And in this graphic, we want you to really understand that where we were is no longer. Where we are is this roadmap, this place that we're really trying to lean in to help us establish this regional community safety and well-being plan. And what I want you to really focus on is really the North Star, or really the sun. The sun is where we are looking to cultivate conditions for young people to be happy, safe, healthy, and thriving. So Dee, let's talk about what we see in this visual and what this visual really means for this community safety and well-being plan.
Man, there's a lot going on in this image. You know, I think underneath kind of the ground there, you can kind of see the trees, and there's a level of intentionality going. How do we leverage a conversation that doesn't just uplift quantitative data, which is just about kind of the numbers, but how do we look at qualitative data? What's the quality of the story, right, that needs to be told? And we've got reports and have sat down with young people. And one of the things that came out of that from one young person was, man, it's easier for me to get a gun than it is for me to get a job. And so we really see kind of data itself and as looking at the forest, quantitative, and qualitative is really looking at the individual tree, but we got to talk about the roots of that tree, and that's the historical data. So you can see that there. I think it's powerful that it starts off with a Black woman who's pregnant in that picture. And we have to talk about the infant mortality rates, right? For Black children, there's just a hurdle for us to just get out of the birthing ward. It begins there, right? And so we want to be looking at the work that has to happen across a continuum. Like, what are the investments from 0 to 5, and who's doing work in those spaces from 5 to 12 and 12 to 18? And really beginning to look at this image to start to identify what's the path. I mean, I think you can look at it and you can kind of see cracks in the walkway, right? Because there's a web of support, and there's a lot of work that has to be put in place in order to get us in the direction and on the path that leads towards this idea of community safety and well-being.
And even as you look at this, right, and we continue to see the bigger picture, as we begin to see the forest through the trees in itself, there's this roadmap that's taken us through these various pillars. Now, we're not set and sold on these pillars, but they've been ones that we identify based on the social determinants of health work that has been done to look at education, to look at workforce and economic development, to look at our health and human services or community development, to look at the safety within community, but also look at juvenile justice. But as you start to work through this path, we recognize that this is a new shore. But we also will be moving on to another new shore, because some of the things, the behaviors, beliefs, and the values that we have today may not be the same moving forward tomorrow. But it does give us a better sense of where we're at. And we have to keep in mind the common goal that we have is to prevent and eliminate youth gun violence by ensuring the sustainable conditions that allow young people to be healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.